dimly lit corridor seemed to stretch endlessly before them, the air heavy with the scent of dust and something else, something damp and ancient. Jack paused, shining his flashlight on the mold-streaked wallpaper that peeled back like shedding skin. "Lisa," he whispered, his voice barely audible over the quiet creaks of the old hotel settling. "Are you sure this is where you want to stay?" Lisa turned, her eyes gleaming with excitement and a hint of nervousness. She had been the one to suggest this adventure, spurred on by stories she had read online about the Exorcist Hotel, an abandoned relic from the late 19th century, rumored to be one of the most haunted places in the region. "Come on, Jack. Don't tell me you're backing out now. This is exactly what we came here for. Besides, think of the stories we'll have when we get back." Jack managed a weak smile, trying to match her enthusiasm. Lisa had always been the brave one, dragging him into situations he would never choose on his own. And yet, her fierce spirit was what he admired most about her, even if it terrified him now. They had known each other since childhood, a bond forged through years of shared secrets and escapades. But this was different. This was stepping into the unknown. The Exorcist Hotel had a story etched into its very walls. Built by a wealthy industrialist in 1889, it had hosted the era's elite until a series of mysterious deaths forced its closure in the 1920s. Over the years, tales of ghostly apparitions and sinister happenings drew thrill seekers and paranormal enthusiasts, each hoping to catch a glimpse of the otherworldly. As they moved through the hallway, a sudden chill descended upon them, and Jack felt the hairs on his neck prick up. "Did you feel that?" he asked, glancing at Lisa. She nodded, her expression serious now, as if sensing the shift in atmosphere. They reached a doorway on their left, its wood warped and splintered. Lisa pushed it open, revealing a vast ballroom, its grandeur faded but still apparent in the ornate ceiling and cracked chandeliers. "This place must have been beautiful once," she murmured, stepping inside. Jack followed, wary of the silence that hung heavily around them. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the far corner of the room. They both jumped, and Jack instinctively reached for Lisa's hand. "What was that?" he asked, his voice barely steady. She squeezed his hand, her grip reassuring despite her own fear. "Probably just an old window or something," she said, though neither of them believed it. They cautiously approached the source of the noise, their footsteps echoing off the marble floor. Behind an upturned table, they found nothing but shards of glass, remnants of a mirror that had once adorned the wall. Jack relaxed slightly, though the unease lingered. Continuing their exploration, they stumbled upon a spiraling staircase leading to the upper floors. "What do you think is up there?" Jack wondered aloud. Lisa shrugged, the thrill of discovery lighting her eyes once more. "Only one way to find out." As they climbed, each step groaned under their weight, the sound amplified in the oppressive silence. At the top, they found themselves in a corridor much like the one below, only here the darkness seemed to press in around them, alive with whispers of the past. They explored room after room, each one telling its own story of neglect and decay. Lisa stopped suddenly in front of a door, her hand resting on the doorknob. "This one feels different," she said softly. Jack joined her, feeling the odd sensation she spoke of, a strange warmth emanating from behind the door. With a deep breath, Lisa turned the knob, pushing the door open to reveal a small library. Despite the decay, the room retained an air of elegance, with dusty tomes lining the shelves. Lisa stepped inside, drawn to a particular book that lay open on the central table, as if left in a hurry. "Jack, look at this," Lisa called, her voice tinged with awe. He approached, squinting at the book's yellowed pages filled with arcane symbols and text in a language neither of them recognized. "It's some sort of ritual," she said, tracing a finger over the intricate designs. Jack felt a shiver run through him.
though he couldn't explain why.
"This is starting to feel like a bad idea, Lisa,"
he said, trying to laugh off his apprehension. Before Lisa could respond, the room suddenly grew cold and their flashlights flickered, plunging them into darkness. A low, guttural whisper filled the air, the words unintelligible but filled with malice. Jack instinctively reached for Lisa, but she wasn't there.
"Lisa?"
he called, panic rising in his chest. His flashlight flickered back to life, revealing the room once more, but she was gone.
"Lisa!"
he shouted, his voice echoing off the walls. He turned in frantic circles, searching for any sign of her. A wave of nausea hit him as the whispers grew louder, and he stumbled backwards, knocking over a chair in his haste. The book on the table suddenly burst into flames, the fire unnatural and cold, its light casting eerie shadows that danced across the walls. Jack staggered back, shielding his eyes from the intense glow. In his frantic state, a plan began to form. He remembered the tales of those who had survived encounters in the Exorcist Hotel, stories of perseverance, of faith and courage in the face of overwhelming terror. Gathering every ounce of his determination, Jack forced himself to calm, focusing on what mattered most, finding Lisa. The whispers coalesced into a singular, haunting wail that rose and fell like a chorus of tortured souls. Jack steeled himself against the fear, remembering Lisa's voice, her bravery. This place, he realized, fed on fear, on the fractures it could create between people. Determined to outwit whatever malevolent force held sway over the hotel, he turned to the book, its pages now ashes. But the symbols had seared themselves into his mind. A plan began to take shape, born out of desperation and a sliver of hope. Moving through the hotel with newfound purpose, Jack retraced their steps, reaching the ballroom once more. There, he found Lisa standing still as a statue in the center of the room, her eyes wide and unfocused. Around her, shadows flickered and swirled, whispering in a language Jack now recognized from the book. "Lisa!" he called, rushing to her side. She blinked, as if coming out of a trance, her eyes locking onto his. "Jack!" she murmured, confusion and relief in her voice. Without wasting a moment, he took her hand, pulling her towards the exit. "We have to get out of here. Now!" Together, they fled through the maze of corridors, the oppressive presence of the hotel pressing down upon them, trying to drag them back. The walls seemed to pulse and breathe, the whispers reaching a frenzied crescendo, urging them to succumb. "Don't listen to it," Jack shouted over the cacophony, gripping Lisa's hand with fierce determination. They stumbled through the debris and decay, their path lit only by the wavering beam of Jack's flashlight. As they neared the exit, the whispers turned to a scream, a final, desperate attempt to claw them back into its dark embrace. But Jack and Lisa pushed forward, driven by a force more powerful than fear, a determination to escape together, to survive. They burst through the front doors, the cold night air hitting them like a wave. The hotel loomed behind them, a dark silhouette against the moonlit sky, its presence still heavy in their minds. Panting and shaken, they turned back to face it. The whispers now a distant memory. "We did it," Lisa breathed, her voice filled with awe and disbelief. Jack nodded, still processing the night's events. As they walked away, the hotel seemed to sigh, settling back into its eerie stillness. And yet, as they rounded the corner, Jack glanced back one last time, catching sight of a flicker of movement in a second-floor window. A shadowy figure watching them leave. The experience had changed them, deepened the bond between them forged through shared fear and survival. As they navigated their way back to safety, Jack knew that the Exorcist Hotel was not just a place. It was a living entity, waiting for the next adventurers to stumble into its clutches. But for now, they had escaped its grasp, carrying its secrets and mysteries with them. Little did they know, however, that the hotel's influence lingered longer than they could have imagined. As they entered the safety of their car, Lisa reached into her pocket and pulled out a slip of paper. On it was a symbol from the book, drawn in perfect detail. "Jack," she whispered, showing him the paper. His heart sank, realizing the hotel had not released them entirely. Whatever force had followed them, it was not done with them yet. The Exorcist Hotel had marked them, leaving a haunting reminder that some doors, once opened, could never truly be closed.